You're allowed to laugh. Let's go over and immerse ourselves in comedy and how your sense of humor was made. When I came up with my theory of comedy, I was studying at Chicago, a second city. I took my master's at Savannah College of Art and Design and studied with some very fancy people at Yale, Harvard, and Juilliard. What I'm telling you is I am my parents' nightmare. I went to clown college. In an age and culture of cancel culture and post-Me Too, are there subjects we cannot make funny? I say to you, we can. I say we can make any subject funny. We cannot make fun of every subject, but we can make any subject funny as long as you have the equal equation of comedy, which is truth, pain, and distance. Now, when I was making my theory, I was going through a very unfunny time in my life. I was assaulted. I was diagnosed with a terminal blood disease, and I was hit by a semi-truck 2 blocks from here, actually. And I was placed in the Shepherd Center Complex Concussion Therapy Unit, and I was declared a blind citizen. If you are wondering, yes, I do not see out of my left eye, so the phrase, don't turn to blind eye, it's very differently now. I didn't find anything funny about my situation, okay, when I was in it. But how can I be a comedic philosophizer and say to you, take a joke, when I wasn't even taking my own jokes? I cannot be an artist today that knows that the most profound art happens when artists are brave and bring their private public. I refuse to be a hypocrite in my life, especially when it comes to my art. But it was hard. My team of doctors would say to me, as I was literally learning how to walk, talk, say my name, and write it again, keep your sense of humor. I have to remind you, dear audience, that it is your choice, no matter what the tragic moment is in your life, for you to keep your witty sense of humor. So let's go over and immerse ourselves in our sense of humor, but we have to understand what comedy is, right? So let's go over the equation, and I genuinely hope that this equation of comedy helps you better understand art, and more importantly, your sense of humor. The first thing that we have in comedy is called distance, okay? Distance. I want you to imagine your favorite adult animation show. So imagine for me BoJack Horseman, Smiling Friends, Ha Ha You Clowns, South Park, Bob's Burgers, Rick and Morty, F is for Family, Family Guy, South Park. Do we know any of these? Okay, great. I want you to picture for me South Park if you know them. Anyone? Okay, great, thank you. Can you do me a favor? Can you picture that show? Close your eyes. Now picture it with real children. Yeah, it wouldn't work, would it? No. We would get canceled, wouldn't we? Whatever poor child actor is getting Kenny. We're watching that child get decapitated once a week. My Lord, it wouldn't work, would it? Adult animation is a great example of visual distance because we feel safe enough to be able to laugh at it. Adult animation is one of my favorite examples of distance in comedy. Because of that visual distance, we are able to look and feel safe enough to laugh. It is my job as the artist to make you feel safe enough to laugh at the subject, okay? Another great example is going to be BoJack Horseman, who does a great human example of the subject of addiction, okay? Another aspect of distance is called timing. I think we've all heard that it comes down to timing in comedy, right? Let's say you go through something bad in your life right now, okay? In the moment, it's not funny. But give it time or distance, we're able to look back and find humor in that situation. But I will tell you this, a part of the equation. The more tragic a moment is, the more distance you will need on it. That is why the phrase too soon exists. Okay? Also, I have to tell you this, a really fun fact. So in Greek time, when we had that, people would dress up and they would go around to different villages and they would actually study people like you. And they would make fun of you, okay? It would be like Saturday Night Live, but without Lorne Michaels. And to get that visual distance, they would wear giant phallic symbols to get away with it. That is a true story. The next aspect of comedy comes down to pain. Pain. I think comedy should be like a good knife. It should be quick, cunning, and to the point. Pain. We love to watch our characters and comedians go through pain, don't we? Oh, I know I do. I'm like Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Yes, pain. So another great example for pain I'd like to bring up is going to be physical comedy. So Lucille Ball, Charlie Chaplin, Carol Burnett. Hey guys, come on now. Yes, we know these people, okay? Now I would like you to picture them. I'd like you to also picture vaudeville, and I would like you to picture like black and white movies, okay? Now I'd like you to picture them out of context. You would be horrified. You'd be seeing women getting choked out on chocolate. You would see women get ran over by trains. You would see men get hit in the face with pies. You would see Charlie Chaplin be a great dictator. Okay? It depends on context. Pain. And I have to tell you this, clowns, circus clowns back in the day, we are still known to put ourselves through insane physical pain for your benefit. And also, I love to bring this up for pain. Any of you that love cringe humor or awkward humor or The Office, things like that, I have to tell you, you are very kinky. You like to be in pain, and it's kind of hot. Okay? The next one is going to be truth. Okay? Oscar Wilde once said, you can tell an audience anything as long as you tell the truth, but if you don't make them laugh, they're going to kill you. That is very true, let me tell you. How many times have we laughed and cried at the same time and said it's funny because it's true? Same. Okay? Or how many times have we found someone that shares a trauma of ours, and then we think they're so funny because we share that trauma? How many people have we met like that? Now, it does get complicated with comedy and truth because everyone's truth is very different, okay? That's where we start to get things that get awkward when we talk about what is okay in comedy. Truth is the most important aspect to art, and audience members always know truth. That is why William Shakespeare's King Lear, the court jester, is the only character to break through the king's badness and speak the truth. Artists and comedians of today are getting challenged for their version of truth because it is shocking you, because you are not sure how to respond to the subject. But I have to ask you why. Why are you so keen on being offended or shocked? I think it's because you don't understand what comedy is, because we don't discuss it. Because at the end of the day, in the world that we're in with social media and their internet, we don't have enough distance on certain subjects anymore, which according to me means that we're only left with truth and pain. And comedy and tragedy are the exact same thing. It's just context. Don't believe me? Let's look at Jason Bateman's acting career. We have Ozark. We have Arrested Development. Follow me. Arrested Development. He's a family man. He's going to save his family through money laundering in California, okay? Ozark. He's a family man. He's going to save his family through money laundering in the Ozarks. There is no difference between these shows. There is not. Another great example that I love is going to be Superbad versus Lord of the Rings. One is a short boy and a big boy trying to get a ring in a hole. One is about a short boy and a big boy trying to get a different thing in a different hole. One's based in Mordor, the other's high school. Both terrible places. That's what I'm saying to you, is it's the exact same thing, okay? So now we understand what comedy is, and we understand why we're getting all pent up about stuff, right? But now let's discuss your sense of humor, okay? My big idea for you. How was your sense of humor made? Well, I have to tell you, it's actually incredible. You've been working on it your entire life. The moment you were born, your sense of humor was made by only you, and it was made by everything tragic that has happened in your life. That is why comedy is extremely subjective, because to accept someone's sense of humor is actually to accept their life's journey. To accept someone's joke is to accept who that person is. Your sense of humor is one of the most personal aspects of your soul that we will ever create. And it's probably the most important one, in my opinion, because why are you so keen on understanding a zodiac sign of yours and not understanding your sixth and final sense as a human, which is your sense of humor? It is amazing. Only you could have made it, but that is why it is so hard, because it comes down to truth, pain, and distance, and your sense of what you've gone through. So your sense of humor was made through everything terrible that's happened to you, my friends. That is why usually and statistically, the more tragedy a human has gone through, the funnier a person is. I don't have time to go into the statistics of mental health and comedians, but I will kindly ask you to hug your funny friends tighter. And I will remind you to do that, okay? So the next time that you deny an artist or deny an entire new realm of reality because it might shock you, I hope you have the tools to understand why it does. Now you can understand why something doesn't have enough distance for you on that subject. Because how amazing will your life be instead of just denying a play, a movie, an artist, a phrase, a whatever it is, to say, I don't want that anymore, to be able to understand why you don't want it. I'm so excited for you, honestly. So the next time you go through something tragic, you get cheated on, you date a narcissist, you get abused, you get hit by a semi-truck, you get assaulted, you get a divorce, you get fired, something terrible happens, your parent gets cancer, you get sick, whatever it is, I hope you know it's actually building an incredible thing in you. So the next time you go through something terrible in your life, I hope you don't turn a blind eye to that witty, sexy, chaotic, alluring, tantalizing sense of humor. You are allowed to laugh. You're allowed to laugh at me. Go and be happy. Thank you.